Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great day so far, and welcome to this middle of the day market update. A little bit earlier than usual, in 30 minutes, probably the US market is going to open, and that usually creates a lot of volatility. And that's also what I expect over the course of today. So be aware of that. I mean, the volume right now. If you zoom in, I mean, we've had quite a lot of price action over the course of today, and we'll talk about Bitcoin a little bit more in depth in a moment, but the volume has been decreasing, right? And that volume will come back into the markets during the New York opening. The New York opening is also going to be quite volatile, I would presume. We don't have any major economic news today, so that's not going to make the markets move. But outside of that, there is going to be movement, right? The S&P 500 at this point of time has been relatively stable. It's still sitting at those highs. Volatility index has been stable, opens basically at the same levels. Dollar strength index stable. So in general, I mean, I have to say that Bitcoin is the only asset that actually looks very interesting, right? And with interesting, what I mean is that we had a beautiful balance right here. And we tried to break above that. And we're still trying to break above that, right? And the main level we need to hold for that, and that's what we spoke about this morning. And I'm thinking if there's any fundamentals I need to talk about, but I really don't think so, right? So we'll just get into Bitcoin. And then we'll talk about some altcoins, because there are some interesting altcoins and an interesting altcoin narrative that I wanted to talk about. But no, I mean, Bitcoin is trying to break out. The volume was incredibly high yesterday, so I think we have a real chance that this is a breakout. But for that breakout to hold, this level right here between 105,000 down to the value area high at 104,500 needs to hold. All right, and that is the level that we're at right now. Now, in defense of Bitcoin, I think we can spike down a little bit lower, right? The POC, the 200 EMA, the 7-day rolling VWAP, a fair value gap, and the 0.618 FIB. That's 5 confluences. Those are all in this area right here at 104,000 and 103.5. So I would argue, you know, generally the main level that we need to stay above to hold this breakout, which we need if we want to get into 107, 108, 109, and 110. Basically bullish continuation for Bitcoin. 104.5 needs to break, all right, on the higher time frames, but on the lower time frames, we can drop down into this level right here around 104,000 as long as we get a strong reaction there. If we do not get a strong reaction there, if we're unable to break back above 104.5 after hitting that level, I would say it's most likely that this was a fake out and that we will get back into balance right here as we have been in for the last 10 days. All right, so it looks, to be fair, it looks quite likely here that Bitcoin is not going to only test 104.5, but that it is also going to test 104 and 103.5. All right, so I would say short term, it's most likely we're going to drop down into that. Strong reaction, reclaim of 104.5. We've broken out and we can rally up higher, back to 106, 107, but potentially higher as well. Get a weak reaction there, and we're going to get back into balance, right? And balance is between 104.5, 105. That would be the top of the balance, the top of the range. And the bottom would be 102. So then we can actually have quite a lot of bearish pressure. And to be fair, before we talk about altcoins here, that would also kind of seem logical for others, right? So this is others. That's altcoins. The total altcoins market cap. And this, in my opinion, looks more like a bullish flag going into the main support, which is lower, by the way, rather than an uptrend, right? So for altcoins in general, I would say it's a little bit more likely that we're going to pull back once more first before we get the real breakouts. But obviously Bitcoin, especially with the Bitcoin dominance being strong again, Bitcoin can deviate from that, right? So for Bitcoin specifically, that's my analysis. For altcoins, it's a little bit different, right? And altcoins is also not one thing. Altcoins are very, very different from one another. If you take a look at XRP, for example, XRP is incredibly stable. We're dropping down right now as expected into that level at 2.3, 2.25. I expect that pullback to continue, but I do think XRP is going to hold. And to be fair, I don't really have anything to add for XRP right now, other than what I said this morning in my video update. So check out that if you're really interested in my full thoughts on XRP and the different scenarios. And then when we're talking about altcoins, look, my favorite altcoins to trade are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Sui. I think Solana looks relatively interesting here. It's pulling back, but ultimately it's reclaimed back into the range with quite a lot of volume. So it's to be expected that this rallies a little bit higher back into the range. So therefore, I'd say, you know, Solana, interesting. But outside of that, when we're talking about other altcoins, there's not much that's interesting, except for one thing, all right, and that is a narrative, and that is old DeFi projects, all right? So then I'm talking, I'll write a list here on the screen, but these are coins I think you need to keep an eye on. It's Aave, it's Maker, it's Curve, and it's it's Frax, all right? These are older DeFi coins, but they look very, very good, right? You can see Aave, for example, right here. It's in an uptrend, but we just got a major high volume candle right here, which is pushing the price up higher. So this, in my opinion, looks ready for a bullish continuation. Then you take a look at Maker on the daily time frame. That's in an uptrend on the higher time frames, also looking strong. And the same goes for FXS and Curve. And we've seen rallies with these coins more often, and they can be extremely great rallies, right, where you can make a lot of money and that are very respectful to the technicals. So keep your eyes on those altcoins for now. There's definitely other altcoins to keep your eyes on as well, but those are the main ones I'd focus on for now. And those are my thoughts. All right, like I said, the New York opening is coming very, very soon, probably in about 30 minutes after uploading this video. I'll post some more updates on X or in the, well, also in the premium feed if you're in the Signal group, if you're in the premium. But for now, that's it. All right, so hopefully that helps. Those are my thoughts. Take care, be cautious today, and I'll see you all in my next videos.